वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदं वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ येनाक्षरसाम्नायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 Today, let me explain about this Mageshwara Sutra. So today we will not read anything. So let me explain about the Mageshwara Sutra, giving the base for. Already I taught you the Mageshwara Sutras. Now we will see what it is. So you can please repeat after me this Sutram. So definition of Sutram. Sutra Lakshanam. Alpaksharam asandigham.
Alpaksharam asandigham.
Sara vishvatomukam.
Saravishvatomukam.
Stobham anavadyam cha.
Astobham anavadyam cha.
Sutram sutravido viduhu.
Sutram sutravido viduhu.
Ayunna.
Eong. Ayauch. Hayavarat. Lan. Nyamangandanam. Jabhai. Ghadadash. Jabagadash. Kapha chatha chatatau. Kapai. Shashasal. These are the Mageshwara Sutras. So we will talk about this today. How many sutras are there? 14
sutras are there.
14 sutras are there. So every class we have been chanting this. Today also I don't want to skip this. So I thought we will chant this and let me explain about this today. So you can keep your mic in mute, please. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So I will talk on this Mageshwara Sutra. I'm sharing a PDF file. Later I will share it with you. Just a minute. You all see the PDF file?
Yes, Guruji.
Yes.
Yes, Guruji.
So let me share another PowerPoint that we will see. The PDF file I will send you later. Now, do you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now you can mute your mic. You please listen. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay. So this Nageshwara Sutra, what we just saw, the 14 sutras. These sutras, these are called sutra. These are called sutra. What is a sutram? We will talk about sutram. Sutram, sutra lakshanam. The characteristics of a sutra. What can be called a sutra? We will discuss. Now, before that, this Nageshwara Sutra, that is the sutras which were obtained from Maheshwara. Maheshwara is Lord Shiva. These sutras were obtained by Panini Maharishi from Lord Shiva. Now, who is Panini Maharishi? Panini Maharishi is well known Vyakarana. Is a grammarian. Vyakarana means grammarian. One of the important person who contributed to the Sanskritam in the form of writing a grammar system for the existing language. Sanskritam was already existing. For the existing language, Panini Maharishi provided a grammar system. Is it only Panini Maharishi provided a grammar system? No. There were 9 grammar systems before. Panini Maharishi system also is one among them. To learn and understand Panini Maharishi's system of grammar itself is difficult. It's not easy. It requires a sukshma buddhi, a subtle mind to understand the nuances of grammar. Many people, they find it difficult, but it is very interesting. It keeps your mind very alert. It refines your thinking. You become a totally different person. Your thinking will change. Dramatically, it will change if you see. It's like its grammar system is like the software programming. In software, if you know a little bit of software programming, the coding, the software languages are coded in Java, in C, C++. If you know anybody of Java, they know, or any language, it's all coded line by line. The program is written. It will run for thousands of lines. The program, but not a single person will do the program. Many persons will do, and they all will be clubbed into a single program, a coding. And in Java, it is made very easy because it is object-oriented program that it is job is simplified. Anyway, this all done by a person that too using a computer and this. But Panini Maharishi, without even a paper and a pen, he has done the coding of the language. The coding is metaphysical language, like software programming. Yes, done that without any support. What paper was not there, pen itself was not there. Right? Everything was, our tradition was oral tradition. But he has presented, he has formed the system in the form of the metaphysical language using 4,000 sutras. The 4,000 sutras covers the entire grammar of the language. And it is presented in the form of a sutra, metaphysical language. It's a code. So, in fact, Panini Maharishi was the first programmer. an ultimate programmer. Nobody equivalent to Panini Maharishi. So his system is called Paninian system. His name is Panini, and he is also a Rishi, Maharishi. It's not an ordinary person. It's not possible for an ordinary person to write such a grammar system. It's beyond our thinking. So his work on grammar, his sutra work and grammar, Samskrita Vyakaranam, it is called Ashtadhyayi. Gita has got 18 chapters. Ashtadasha Adhyayi. Ashtadasha Adhyayi, we can say. Gita has got 18 chapters. And this has got 8 chapters. Panini's Sutra work has got 8 chapters. Therefore, it is called Ashtadhyayi. Ashtanam Adhyayanam Samaharaha Ashtadhyayi. A work which has got 8 chapters. And what is this work? It's a Sutra work. It is a Sutra work. Because it is a Sutra work, therefore we should know what Sutra is. So, Panini Maharishi, one of the great grammarians, developed a grammar system, and it's a system in the form of a Sutra work. The Sutra work is called Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi meaning that which has got 8 chapters. So now, what is a Sutra? What is a Sutram? This is a Sutra work, I said. But what is a Sutram? Therefore, we should know what a Sutram is. Though we chant every class, Alpaksharam Asandigdam, without knowing the meaning. Today we will see the meaning, starting from what a Sutram is, the definition of Sutram. Already we chanted Alpaksharam Asandigdam, Sarvat, Vishwatomukam, Astobam, Anavadyam cha, Sutram, Sutravido, Viduhu. So, Alpaksharam, Asandigdam, Saravata, Vishwatomukam, Astobam, Anavadyam. These six what you see, these are the Sutra Lakshanam, the 6 features of a Sutram. That is called a Sutram which has got the 6 features. That is called a Sutram which has this 6 features, this 6 characteristics. Now each characteristic we have to see. Number 1, Alpaksharam. What is Alpaksharam? Alpa meaning we know it is little. Aksharam, letters. So a Sutram must have minimum number of letters. A Sutram must have minimum number of letters without compromising on the meaning. The meaning should also be clear. The meaning also should be clear. The Sutra must be brief, it must be short and brief, clear. The minimum number of letters, a Sutram must have a minimum number of letters. Like we have, VIBGYOR. What do you call that? With your all the colors, 7 colors. That's a Sutram. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The Sutram. All the 7 colors are, it is abbreviated. So an abbreviation, that's also a Sutram only. So Sutram must be like that. Must have minimum number of letters. Minimum number of letters and minimum number of sutras in a Sutra work. Number of sutras also must be minimum. And number of letters, number of words in a sutra also minimum. And number of letters in a word also should be minimum. As far as possible should be minimum. It should be highly compact. Highly compact. So highly compact, therefore the work will be a simple work in terms of size, not like Mahabharata. Mahabharata 1 lakh shlokas are, that's a huge work. But Sutram is not like, it's a very thin book. If it is printed in the form of a book, it will be a very thin book, Sutram. But if you interpret, it will be more than the size of Mahabharata. Because the word can be, the Sutram can be, the Sutram which has got words, the words are letters, it can be opened. It can be opened up, and when it is opened up, it becomes a huge, work, because it has got a lot of information tightly packed in. It gives you a lot of information, insight about the topic. That is one of the important feature of a sutra. Alpam meaning little, aksharam meaning letters. So minimum number of letters should be in a sutra. Minimum number of letters means minimum number of words. The words having minimum number of letters, and the minimum number of sutras. A sutra work can have any number of sutras, but that also number of sutras also you have to make it minimum. So yes, a single sutram can be opened like a book containing information tightly packed. And a long description or a long paragraph cannot be called a sutram. There should not be any unnecessary description, a long paragraph. That cannot be called a sutram. There is a sutra work called a Narada Bhakti Sutra. Narada Bhakti Sutra, though it is called a sutram, but there you find a long description. Sometimes you find a long description. Even though it is called a sutram, but Ashtadhyayi is not like that. It doesn't have a long, description. That's no paragraph at all. It is just a line, not even a line, half of a line. If at all, if it is a line, it will have minimum number of words, 5 words, 6 words, if it is required. So it is so brief, and concise. That is called a sutra work. What is the benefit of having this? You can memorize it easily. When you memorize not just a sutra, with the memorize you have all the information which are contained in the sutra, because you know how to open up the sutra, and unfold the information contained in the sutra. Therefore, memorizing the sutra is equivalent to observing the information contained in the sutra. It means you have the information with you, what the sutra wants to convey. So, making in the form of the sutra is easy for memorization and easy for knowing the content of the sutra. It has got a lot of information tightly packed. So each information you need not remember separately. Knowing the sutra, you know the information. Even if it's huge information, vast information, you know it by knowing the sutra. So therefore, one of the important feature of the sutra is Alpaksharam. This is the first word we chant, Alpaksharam. Now, because it is Alpaksharam, Alpa meaning little, Aksharam means letters, Alpam cha adaha Aksharam. That is a samasa. We'll talk about that later. I give some extra information, which you will understand later probably. It's a samasa, it's a compound. Alpaksharam is one word. Okay, Alpaksharam is one word. The sutra must have minimum number of letters. Now, because it should have minimum number of letters, there should not be any ambiguity with regard to the meaning of the sutra. Because the condition of the sutra is Alpaksharam, there is no compromise. There is no compromise on what the sutra conveys. It should be free from any ambiguity. It should be free from vagueness. It should be free from any unclear or vagueness. It should be so clear. It should be as clear, crystal clear, in giving the meaning what it is intended to. And that's because it is not ambiguous. Therefore, you cannot interpret it in different ways. So there is no various interpretations possible because the sutra is so clear in conveying what it wants to. So you cannot have many meanings for the same sutra. This is what the meaning is, so clear. So no sandigdha artha. No sandigdha artha. Sandigdha is doubtful, no doubtful meaning. It is so clear, crystal clear. Because it is crystal clear, therefore it doesn't have any ambiguity, free from ambiguity. So it is clear and free from vagueness. Therefore, what knowledge it will produce? It will produce the right knowledge. It will produce the right knowledge to the students. The knowledge is clear and the knowledge is right. So asandigdam for clear knowledge. Alpaksharam for easy memorization. Asandigdam for clear knowledge. This is another important feature. Connected to Alpaksharam. No compromise because of Alpaksharam. It should be clear. Asandigdam. Na sandigdam. Sandigdha means sandeha. Sandeha, you know. Sandeha we also use in Tamil. Sandeha, doubt. Free from sandeha. Na sandigdam, asandigdam. Iti. This is the second important characteristics of the sutra.
Excuse me, Guruji. Na sandigdam means no doubt. Okay. Asandigdam means that is also
na
same.
Sandigdam. No, na sandigdam is equal to asandigdam.
Oh, okay.
The samasa.
Yeah, that's what.
Sandigdam is there in the
Yeah.
shloka.
Yeah.
What is sandigdam is written in the form of words
Okay.
which mean the same.
Okay, Guruji.
Okay. The same thing what I gave for the previous one. Alpam cha adaha aksharam cha alpaksharam. That which is alpa, a little, meaning minimum. That which is akshara, letters. It means the letters, that is minimum number of letters. Alpam cha adaha aksharam cha, minimum letters. Okay. Now the third one, saravat. Sara means essence. Sara means juice, the essence. So saraha asti iti saravat. Saravat is a word. For that, the vigraha. Vigraha means using the words explaining the meaning of the word. Saravat is equal to saram asya asti iti saravat. That which has saram, the essence, that which deals with the topic, the essence of the subject matter, that is called saravat. It means you should not discuss any other thing. You should not deviate from the topic. But it's a highly focused one. So not focusing on the unnecessary thing, non-essential things. So if it is a sutra talks about a particular thing, it will be only that thing. Other things are not covered. So it is highly focused and deals only with that subject matter, nothing else. So that is another important. Saravat. It must have saram. It must deal with the essence of the subject matter. Then the next one, Vishwato Mukam. A sutra is there. A sutra is written. Its application, it's not only in a particular context. Its application is varied. It is applicable in different contexts. The meaning of the sutra doesn't change. The meaning of the sutra remaining the same, but it has the ability, for application, ability of application in different contexts. In different contexts, different topics, sutra finds place its application. That is why it's called Vishwato Mukam. Vishwato Mukam. Vishwata Mukam means face. Vishwataha means it's all around. So therefore multifaceted. A sutra must be a multifaceted one. So therefore it must be able to use in different contexts and different topics. The meaning of the sutra will be same, but its application is clear. Its application. So Vishwato Mukam. Like a software program is there. See, a calculation, a simple addition process is there, an addition. that addition is achieved by the plus sign. In a calculator, it is by the plus sign. So the plus sign as the program of addition that I can use anywhere I like, wherever addition is required, I can put plus. So the applicability of that plus, meaning the program which is intended to add the two things, can be used anywhere. Wherever anywhere means wherever application is required, I can use that. Whether it is a mobile phone, the same plus sign, which indicates the additional program, whether it is a computer or whether it's a tablet, whatever it may be. A program is written for the addition, the plus sign. That will remain as it is, but it has application in different things. Similarly, a sutram will have the meaning, but it will find its application in many places, depending on the context. It finds an application. That's called Vishwatomukha. Applicability of the sutra in different contexts and different topics. And whatever the meaning it is intended to convey, that it will convey. I given an example, a mobile phone. What is a mobile phone? A mobile phone can be used as a timepiece to watch time. Not is it only it's meant for timing? No, it is meant for talking, but it can also be used as a timepiece because time is there. You can watch the time display is there. In fact, I don't use watch at all, wrist watch. I always use mobile because I have mobile. Why should I have wrist watch? So I can use a mobile as a timepiece for me. I can use it as a watch for watching time, and also the timepiece to set alarm. I set alarm only in my mobile to get up in the morning. So it is got multi-purpose, multifaceted. That's called multifaceted, Vishwatomukam. And also you can use it for watching any programs or videos through WhatsApp and Facebook, so many, and YouTube. You can watch. Serves the purpose of a television also. So even if you don't have television, but with mobile, you can watch the TV programs. That is the application. Even though it's just a mobile meant for talking, it has got various application. That is called Vishwatomukha. It can be used as a computer. It can be used as a TV. It can be used as a timepiece. It can be used in whatever way. For taking as a camera also you can use for taking pictures, photos. That is called multi-faceted Vishwatomukam. Similarly, a sutra also. A sutra must be able to use in different contexts, different topics, and the meaning of the sutra will not change. The meaning of the sutra without compromising on the meaning. Therefore, a sutra must be versatile. It must be versatile. And because of this feature, the number of sutras are reduced. You don't have to repeat this. You don't need to have a mobile for another instrument for watching time, another instrument for setting alarm, another instrument for taking photo. Everything is there in one mobile. So therefore, the number of gadgets reduces into only one, that is mobile. Similarly, the sutra being versatile, therefore, the number of sutras also reduces. And that achieves a very first characteristics. Alpaksharam, a sutra should be minimum number of sutras. So this Vishwatomukam, this characteristic of a sutra helps in achieving the sutratvam, the status of a sutra. So one of the important characteristics for a sutra is Vishwatomukam. Then after this Vishwatomukam, the next one is Astobham. Nastobham, Astobham. Stobha means glorification. Glorification means the words which are either glorifying or even the opposite of that. All these are unnecessary words, not required. Any words, any descriptive words, description, adjectives, these are not allowed in a sutra. Because the descriptions have got words or sentences, and the words have got letters, all these are unnecessary. So because the sutra must be a compact one, so unnecessary words, unnecessary letters, and therefore no glorifying words, are allowed because it disturbs or distorts the brevity of the sutra. Therefore, astobam, nastobam, astobam. And also there is a cha, tu, all these particles. These are not added. These are added in a kavita, in a poem for the Pada Puranam, for the sake of the meter. For Anushtup Chanda, Trishtup Chanda, the meter, it's all certain meters. So when you set it to a meter, it is easy for chanting and therefore memorizing. So therefore, cha, tu, all these are particles. They are used in a kavita, in a poem. Those are not allowed. Those may be allowed in a poetic literature, but not in the sutra. Therefore, sutra is not something you can which can be set into a meter and can be sung. No, it cannot be sung. Maybe it can be chanted. It has got some swaras. It can be chanted. So therefore, no adjectival words, no interjectival words, and therefore no adjective, no interjective. Therefore, it is all free from that. It's not there. These are not allowed in a sutra. Why? Because for a grammarian, for a Vyakarana, saving a letter, saving a single letter of a sutram will give them as much happiness as as though a son is born to them. Putrotsava manyate. When a son is born, how much the father and mother they feel blessed and happy. That much happiness a Vyakarana gets by saving a single letter. So Vyakarana, these Sutrakara, these Vyakaranas, they feel so much, excited when they say a single letter. If they can say a single letter, it's a great joy for them. So Putrotsava manyate. So therefore, Astobam. The next one is Anavadyam. Na avadyam anavadyam. Vadyam, avadyam, anavadyam. Vadyam means that Vadyam, avadyam, anavadyam. It's called double negative is there. Anyway, avadya means that which is faulty, blemish, error. Anavadya means free from that, impeccable, blemishless. Blemishless in terms of the word as well as the meaning. In terms of the artha as well as in terms of the shabda, it should be free from errors. It should be free from error in conveying the meaning as well as the formation of the word. In both, it should be free. So avadyam means blemish. Anavadyam means blemishless, free from fault, any fault, free from flaws. So it is free from errors in terms of the meaning, and also it is free from grammatical errors also. So no fault, no blemish should be there in a sutra. So these are the 6 important features. Let us quickly recall these important features of a sutra. You can see the slide. Alpaksharam, number 1. Asandigdam, number 2. Alpaksharam is minimum number of letters. Asandigdam, free from any, free from ambiguity, unambiguous. And Saravat should deal only with the subject matter, that talk about the essence of the subject matter. Deal only with the topic, Saravat. Vishvatomukam, applicability in other context. Astobam, no unnecessary words. Anavadyam, free from fault. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 important lakshanam, lakshanani, sutra lakshanani. Iti, that which has these 6 lakshanams, characteristics, is called a sutram. By whom? Sutra vidaha. The knowers of the sutra, viduhu, they know or they declare this to be a sutra which has got this 6 lakshanam, 6 characteristics. So that is called a sutram, which is called this, which has this its characteristics. This is what the understanding of the Sutra Vidaha, the knowers of the Sutram. You all understand the meaning of a Sutram, which we chant every class without knowing the meaning. And today I taught you the meaning of this Sutram. So Ashtadhyayi is grammar work. It is a Vyakarana Sutra. We have Brahma Sutra, it's a Vedanta Sutra work. Brahma Sutra. Ashtadhyayi Vyakarana Sutra. Brahma Sutra written by Vyasacharya. It has got 555 sutra. That is also another important sutra work. It is the Prasthanam. It is the Prasthanam to establish your Siddhanta Advaita. So that is also a sutra work. Patanjali Yoga Sutra, another sutra work. There are many sutra works are there. All the sutra works will have this 6 sutra lakshanam. You all understand this? Yes?
Yes,
Are there any
Guruji.
doubts?
Yeah. Very good. Very nicely understood. No problem.
Okay. So now, going further, now we have seen this Sutra and Sutra Lakshanam. Now let us see, understand this Mageshwara Sutra. Before that, we need to know certain things about the Veda and the language. Vedas were not written. It's all Vedas all only listened. It later came into writing. Later, when writing came into existence, Vedas were written on palm leaves. And the language which the Veda adopted, which the people adopted, is the Devanagari. Devanagari is the script. The language is Sanskritam, Devanagari is the script. Now, the language Sanskritam was there before. And the grammar, when did it come? Before the language came into existence or after the language? The language came into existence, the grammar came into existence after the language. Vedas were in Sanskritam, the language was there, and the grammar for that language came into existence after that. It's not like grammar you write first for the language, and then you develop the language. It's not like that. Based on the words which are used in the Vedas, and also the Sanskritam, the language which were in the spoken mode, the grammar was written. Many grammar systems were there, as I told before, and Panini Maharishi grammar system is one among them. Therefore, even for grammar, Vedas are the Pramanam. If you know the word Pramanam, we have talked about it in Vedanta class, Pramanam. Veda is a Pramanam not only for knowing Atma, not only for knowing the Jagat Karanam Brahma, it is also the Pramanam even for grammar. If Vedas are not there, grammar would not have come. Therefore, grammar came after Veda. Therefore, grammar is based on the Veda. Not that Vedas should follow the grammar. Veda is independent. It has the final authority. It doesn't depend on grammar. So the grammar, what came into existence, is not for the Vedas. Based on the Vedas only, the grammar systems were developed. So, and the grammar system should give a logical, a legitimate reason for the usage of words by the Vedas. Even the words what the Vedas use, for that the grammar system must give a logic, a reasoning. So, therefore, Vedas first and then only the grammar. And therefore, Vedas are independent. Vedas are independent and need not follow any rules also. It's beyond rules, above rules. Because rules came into existence after that. Therefore, you may find in Vedas sometimes it doesn't follow the rules of the grammar. It doesn't mean that Veda Vedas violate the rule. No, it is the privilege of the Veda to use the words. Like, for example, there are some dhatus, which is Parasmipadi dhatu. Parasmipadi, Atmanipadi. Atmanipadi, I think I have not introduced. Maybe I will introduce later. There are some dhatus to which you can only add Parasmipadi pratyaya. Atmanipadi you cannot add. Like Patati. Patati, Patataha, Patanti, Patasi, Patataha, Patata. We know there are Atmanipadi suffix. They like Labate, Labhete, Labante. We are going to learn that later.
One
Labase, Labete, Labadve, Labhe, Labavahe, Labhamahe. Lab is a dhatu. It's an Atmanipadi dhatu, to which you can only add te. You cannot say Labati. There is no word Labati. If you say Labati, it means you don't know Sanskrit. There is no Labati, Labataha, Labanti. Labasi, Labataha, not there. Labate, Labete, Labante. Labase, Labete, Labate. But Vedas need not follow that. Vedas can use Atmanipadi Pratyaya for the Parasmipadi dhatu, or even a Parasmipadi Pratyaya for Atmanipadi dhatu. It can use the words any way they like. It is the privilege of the Veda. Because Vedas first and then only grammar. It is independent. Not only the Vedas, even the great people, great rishis, they use words which sometimes do not follow the grammar. And those usage we call Arsha Prayoga. The privilege of the rishis to use those words. In Gita also some places you will find Arsha Prayoga. Prayoga means usage. Arsha is of the rishis, belonging to the rishis. The rishis have the privilege to use the words. Use the words, not following the grammar. They are above grammar. They are above dharma and adharma. What to talk about grammar? So, therefore, these are called Arsha Prayoga. So, Vedas or the rishis, they are above grammar. We are not above grammar. We have to follow the grammar. Okay, so that is from Vyakaranam came. This is what I said in this. You can see the words used by the great sages, not bound by any grammatical rules, are called Arsha Prayoga. I don't know whether I don't know this slide comes after this. Arsha Prayoga was there in my mind. I told, and incidentally, this slide also comes saying the same thing. There are words in the Vedas which do not follow any rules. These are called Vedic, and that's called Chandasam. If you find a Vedas using words which doesn't follow grammar, it's called Chandasam. Chandasam means that is a Vedic usage. Vedas have the privilege to use. Whereas we have to use the words in keeping with the grammar. Similarly, the great sages, Valmiki, Vyasa, they're all about grammar rules. And the words used by them, sometimes they may not follow the grammar. Those words are called Arsha Prayoga. Most of the time they follow the grammar rules. Sometimes you may find the words which doesn't fit in the grammar system. They are called Arsha Prayoga. You cannot try to derive the word applying the Panini Sutra, that word. They are Arsha Prayoga. So, therefore, accepting the Vedas and the rishis, we have to follow the grammar rules. So, in the Sutra work of Panini Maharishi, Panini has given a list of rules which we need to follow for usage and also for knowing how the word is derived, to know the etymology of the words. For knowing the etymology of the words and for the usage, we need to know the rules, which Panini Maharishi has presented in the form of work called Ashtadhyayi. So, this Ashtadhyayi, the important grammar work, one of the important grammar work, it is based on the 14 sutras, what we chant every day. Ayivun, Riluk. These 14 sutras, they form the backbone of the work Ashtadhyayi. Without this 14 sutra, Ashtadhyayi, the sutra work cannot or could not have come into existence. And these 14 sutras were revealed by Bhagavan Shiva himself to Panini Maharishi. Therefore, it is called Maheshwara Sutrani. Maheshwarat Agatani Sutrani, Maheshwara Sutrani. The sutras which are obtained from Lord Shiva. That's why it's called Maheshwara Sutrani. It has got many names. Pratyahara Sutrani. We are going to see Pratyahara and all. Pratyahara Sutrani. Shiva Sutrani. Another name is Shiva Sutrani. Another name is Akshara Samamnayam. If you remember, we chant every class. Yena Akshara Samamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat. You remember the shloka? Yena Aksharam
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah.
Maheshwarat Adhigamya. Maheshwara is Ishwarat Adhigamya. Having obtained from Ishvara what? Akshara Samamnayam. Samamnayam means collection. Collection of what? Akshara. What are those aksharas? Ayun, Riluk, Evom. These are the akshara. The collection of these letters from Maheshwarat, from Lord Shiva, Adhigamya, obtained. Who obtained? Who got it? Tasmai Paninaye Namaha. Obtaining which the Panini Maharishi, he gave the entire grammar system for the language to that Panini Maharishi. I offer my namaskaram. That was the meaning of that shloka, which we saw before in the beginning. So the Akshara Samamnayam, that is another name for the Maheshwara Sutrani. So whether you call it Maheshwara Sutrani or Shiva Sutrani or Akshara Samamnayam or Pratyahara Sutrani, all mean the same. So those 14 sutras is what we are going to discuss. Maybe we will continue our discussion on this in the next class. So 2 classes will try to complete this. Therefore, there will not be any chanting of the shabdas or the exercises. So first we will learn this because already I started. So let me complete this, the topic. Okay. So today we can stop here. We will see. We will continue the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Ask.
Dhanyavad Guruji. Dhanyavad
Thank
Guruji.
you,
Very
Guruji.
nice,
Very
very nice
interesting
explanation. Very interesting.
class, Guruji.
And
Thank
you
you.
have
Waiting
explained
for the
very
next
well,
one.
Guruji. I
Yes.
don't know what to say. Very nice, very
Yes.
nice.
Same thing, Guruji.
Enjoyed
Waiting for the
the
next
class.
I think enjoyable is the wrong word, but it was very nice.
Thank you.
It was so informative and so well elucidated. I don't know. I can't. Each word is just remaining now for me. Okay, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyavad Guruji. Dhanyavad Guruji.
ధన్యవాదాలు గురుజీ
Dhanyawada.
ధన్యవాద గురుజీ.
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyavad Guruji.
Happy to know you all learn it. It's a great thing.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Guru.
Much to learn.